And Dana, I had a question for you around Joe Rogan. There's been a lot of controversy with him.
First off, let me take this one. Hold up. I'm black. I can take this one. Look.
Okay. What were...
No. There's a lot of cunts in this game. There's a lot of snakes in this game. I've been in this fight game since 2008. And Joe Rogan is one of the nicest, coolest, humble motherfuckers I've had the pleasure of working with. Understand that. And you know, it's just... the noise, man. You know what they're trying to do. You can't control the man, and he's got the biggest platform in the world right now. So that's my nigga, Joe Rogan. The noise.
Here from the quartering, and hoo-wee, what an absolute instant regret for this reporter who, during a pre-MMA event where all the athletes were answering questions, decided that he would ask Dana White about what he thought about Joe Rogan's controversy. And the reporter probably didn't expect the response he got. It was absolutely hilarious. On top of that, he absolutely took CNN out to the woodshed last night, talking about their format, as well as another hilarious own, as the media is essentially given up. They literally can't, they can't cancel him. They know that. People are saying it to their face, and it's absolutely hilarious. This and more after a quick word from this video sponsor, Keeps. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Keeps. Look, Keeps is a subscription service that focuses on making it easier and much more affordable for men to treat their male pattern baldness. With Keeps, you'll have access to online consultations with a real doctor, automated shipping with delivery right to your home, constant access to your doctor through online messaging, and generic options of FDA-approved medications for hair loss. And look, 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35. With Keeps, you can get quality expert care without ever having to visit a doctor's office or pharmacy. To get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com/thequartering or click the link in the description to get 50% off your first order. Now, I want to start with this article. Joe Rogan blasts CNN over Spotify flap. Nobody listens to them. Joe Rogan is once again taking aim at the dishonest CNN and other legacy media outlets, including the New York Post probably, accusing them of taking editorial perspective towards his Spotify podcast in an attempt to, quote, silence him and censor his show. The Joe Rogan Experience host called out CNN media reporter Brian Stelter and primetime host international newsreader Don Lemon, personally saying, stop this editorial perspective with guys like Brian Stelter and international newsreader Don Lemon. Nobody listens to. Rogan added, nobody is, chiming in saying, oh yeah, we finally got the voice of reason. Nobody thinks that. He made the remarks during Thursday's episode of the podcast, which included comedian Dave Smith. Rogan said his viewers no longer trust CNN, which has struggled in the cable ratings news race because the network is not being honest. If you're in business and your business is the news and you want to get more people to pay attention, maybe you should be honest. And that's my thoughts for CNN. My advice to them, I don't hate CNN. I used to go to them every day for news until they started effing hating on me. If you want to do better, just change your model. Change the way you do it. Well, it would be nice. It's funny that in current year, we're saying, hey, news media, if you want people to trust your news, stop lying. Isn't that funny? Like, isn't that interesting? Isn't that curious that the news has to be told not to lie? He also says the answer is not to silence me. It's for you to do better. He's not wrong. You know, he brought up, of course, the horsey paste comment. You know, what you should have said is how did Joe Rogan get better so quick? How come he got the coof that's ending everybody and he was better in 5 days, negative in 5 days, working out in 6 days? How come that was never discussed? Rogan asked. After clarifying, he believed that the antibodies he took did more for him during his bout with the coof than the other stuff. He pivoted to CNN, which heavily pushed the paste falsehood. Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny. Rogan later forced CNN's chief medical correspondent Sanjay Gupta during a contentious interview exchange to admit his colleagues were wrong to describe his use of the drug as livestock stuff. Even after being called out for peddling misinformation, CNN remained defiant, claiming in a statement that the only thing CNN did wrong here was to bruise the ego of a popular podcaster who pushed dangerous misinformation to risk the lives of millions of people. I mean, yeah. How about this? UFC fighter jumps in during presser to passionately defend Joe Rogan. I'm black. I could take this one. UFC fighter Israel Adesanya on Thursday night took a question that was not directed at him to offer a fierce defense of popular podcast host Joe Rogan, calling one of the nicest, coolest, humble MFers in the industry. During a pre-fight conference, a reporter started to ask UFC President Dana White about the, quote, controversy surrounding Rogan and the controversial language the podcast used on his show. Dana White starts to walk away from the podium. By the way, the crowd booed him. Other reporters in the room, athletes. Hold up, Adesanya said. I'm black. I can take this one. There's a lot of CNX Tuesdays in this game, he told the reporter. There's a lot of snakes in this game. I've been in the fight game since 2008. Joe Rogan is one of the nicest, coolest, humble MFers I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Understand that. F that noise, Adesanya said. You know what they're trying to do. You can't control the man. He's got the biggest platform in the world right now. That's my N-word, Joe Rogan. Pressed on what Rogan should do to block out the noise, the fighter said, just keep doing you, Joe. Have some shrooms. Keep doing you. Rogan addressed, obviously, the host emphasized that when you look at the past clips of his use in context, he says that he was, rather quoting rather than saying the word or calling one of that. We know all that. We know all of that. And, the efforts to cancel Joe Rogan have picked up steam over the past couple of weeks. Before they were slandering him as a racist, left-wing celebrities and media figures worked to pressure the audio platform to remove the Joe Rogan Experience podcast over his quote-unquote misinformation. Except, and by the way, this video is absolutely great. I'll just show you the boost because I don't want to play the curse words. But listen to the reaction when the dude asked the question.
I had a question for you around Joe Rogan. There's been a lot of controversy with him.
First off, let me take this one. Hold up. I'm black. I can take this one. Look.
First of all, Dana White and Joe Rogan are like boys, right? Like they work together. They're good friends. And Dana White has been very vocal about defending him. And having, by the way, Israel Adesanya is a known entity in the fight game. Like he's been around for a long time. Big name, big bout with Whitaker. But like this dude, he doesn't take no junk. Then you get this article on the Washington Post, which I won't pay for. Rogan is too much. He's trying to pretend like he's a regular guy. Oh, let's see. Let's just go to one of my all-time favorite websites. There we go. Joe Rogan is too powerful to keep acting as if he's just a regular guy chopping it up. Okay, Monica Hess. I don't think 40-year-old white women should be saying chopping it up. Ever. Like ever. It's like when Monica Hess says chopping it up, it sounds like when Dave Chappelle, or when during the racial draft, Dave Chappelle as a white character gets drafted by the blacks. Oh no, it was Tiger Woods. And then he's like, I've always wanted to say this for shizzle. Like that's how Monica Hess sounds saying chopping it up. Some of us are old enough to remember when Joe Rogan was not a podcaster, but rather a genial fire hydrant of a man offering all sorts of, sheep eyeballs to Fear Factor contestants. Yeah. This is, this actually tells you this entire, ridiculousness, and yet another hit piece. It actually shows just how powerful he actually is. Like, I have to admit, I am genuinely surprised that Spotify stuck with them, aren't you? A lot of people said like, oh, well, it's $100 million. Of course. Nah, it's not that much money. It's not that much money. What did I say the number was? They have 180 million people paying at least $10 a month, and some of them as high as $15 a month. 100 million bucks is nothing to them. They could have absolutely cut Joe Rogan. It was the 11 million people that all likely pay the $10 a month that they couldn't lose, or some significant portion of them are Spotify premium members. That's who they couldn't lose. It wasn't about Joe Rogan. It's his audience that makes him so powerful. And every time one of these like cancel attempts happen, it's like Thanos should have went for the head, right? Like every time they don't completely cancel him, they make him more powerful. And he's more powerful than ever right now. And you know, I don't listen to his 3-hour podcast very often. I know a lot of people listen to it while they're working and stuff. But I enjoy the clips, and I enjoy the, you know, sometimes, you know, the spicier guests. I pop in and pop out when there's like a guest that I'm really interested in, you know, Elon coming on, or Alex, or, you know, comedians and stuff like that. But look, if I've learned anything covering this whole hullabaloo, which probably ends now this week for a little while, it's been that it's his audience that makes him so powerful. And then so many of them have been joining the channel too. Like, if you see the subscribe button below the video and it's red, it's not grayed out, that means you're not subscribed. Sometimes people get unsubscribed. Sometimes people haven't yet. It's Friday. Hopefully you'll take a moment, and if I've earned it, to consider subscribing to the channel. It's really the only way you find my videos. YouTube does not put them in the search results, and so I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Hats off to Joe Rogan. Hopefully he has a relaxing weekend. I'm sure he's just fine sleeping on a mattress full of money. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.